G'day Pickleball family. First thing to know, as shared on pickleball.com, a final look at MLP Washington DC by author Jim Kloss. The second MLP Major League Pickleball event of 2024 is over. It featured some hot temperatures and long matches. Because of the lack of lights and time pressures, not all scheduled matches went forward as programmed. 14 total Premier matches were completed, and we are now about one quarter the way through the season. Of the 12 Premier teams, 7 were in action in DC. Some helped themselves, others not so much. The DC Hits won New York Hustlers. There is no question that the big winner from DC was the team from New York. They played 6 matches and racked up 15 points in those matches, an excellent record. They went undefeated. New York did not appear very strong coming out of MLP Atlanta, and their ability to make the playoffs was in doubt to many, including me. New York proved me very wrong in DC. Can they keep it up going forward? Number 2, Jackie Kawamoto. Kawamoto won 9 matches in DC, more than anyone. She was also instrumental in the 3 matches New York won in Dream Breakers. Not known for her singles prowess, Kawamoto showed the importance of depth in Dream Breakers. She was the MVP of the DC event. 3, Dallas shows their potential. Dallas started slowly, going 1-1 on the first day and sitting out day 2 of MLP DC. But Dallas finished strong on day 3, going 2-0, defeating Utah 4-0 and then Texas 4-0. That gave Dallas 9 points for the event in only 4 matches. It catapulted Dallas to 3rd in total points, but more importantly, 2nd in points per match. A fairer way to rank the teams, as it takes into account the facts that teams have played different numbers of matches. Dallas was the favourite at the beginning of the season to win it all, and they keep showing flashes of that potential. They just need a little more consistency. 4, JW and Georgia Johnson. The brother and sister duo for the Dallas Flash both went 7-1 in DC to be at the top of the individual player standings. It was seen as a smart move for Dallas to draft the duo, and DC showed why that very well may be true. As with their overall team, can they keep it going? 5, St. Louis. St. Louis came into DC at the top of the standings, and they emerged a little beaten up, but still on top. St. Louis is second with 17 points, but more importantly is in first place with 2.13 points per match. St. Louis suffered a surprising 3-1 loss to New York to start DC, but came back on the final day with an outright win and a Dream Breaker win to grab 5 points in their 3 matches. St. Louis looks like a solid bet to be one of the 6 playoff teams. 6, Dream Breakers. Unlike in 2023 or at MLP Atlanta in 2024, lots of matches in DC went to Dream Breakers. 7 of the 16 matches in DC went to Dream Breaker, and the percentage was even higher in Challenger matches. When nearly 50% of the matches go to Dream Breaker, it is not only exciting for the fans, but it puts a lot of emphasis on single skills. Will this trend continue, or was DC a fluke? The DC misses. 1, Utah saw its first MLP action in DC, and they probably wish they had been given another bye. Utah played 4 matches and lost them all either 3-1 or 4-0, netting 0 points for the event. Utah was projected before the season to be the worst team, and they played to those expectations. Utah has time to regroup, but at this point looks lost. 2, Alex Truong. Truong was a bit of a surprise pick in Premier, and that pick will continue to be questioned as she went 0-8 in her DC matches. Unfortunately, her matches were also not particularly close. She never scored more than 20 points in any of her women's doubles or mixed doubles matches, and lost her matches by an average score of 25-18. Not that anyone on Utah played great, but at this point, Utah may need to start thinking about a replacement for Truong. 3, Carolina. The Ben Johns-led Carolina team saw its first action in DC, but their performance created more questions than answers. Carolina played 5 matches, but only scored 5 points in those matches. They only won 1 match, and that one in a Dream Breaker. Speaking of Dream Breakers, Carolina lost 3 matches in Dream Breakers. The commentators repeatedly remarked on the fact that Ben Johns is Carolina's only above-average singles player. Ben Johns was 8-2 in DC. If he loses a match, Carolina is likely to lose. If he goes 2-0, they are still likely headed for a dream breaker. So the decision to draft 3 below-average singles players may well haunt Carolina all year. Can they pick up their play in women's doubles and or Colin John's mixed match? If not, this team is in some trouble. Carolina may be a team looking to make a player switch to add a woman more skilled at singles. Is Vivian Klausman in their future? Next up for MLP is a waiver wire process on June 19 through 20. We'll have to wait and see what changes, if any, are made by Premier and Challenger teams. I don't expect much action at the Premier level, and indeed, it would not be shocking for no moves at all to be made. The Challenger teams will likely be busier. Thanks ever so much for making it this far into the update. Please be sure to hit subscribe and like, comment, and rate on the platform you're watching or listening to it on, so this and future episodes can be found by and shared with other fellow pickleballs. Second thing to know, also shared on pickleball.com, Ben Johns makes front page of Washington Post. Pickleball is making headlines and earning coveted front page slots in the US national news. On June 14, the Washington Post published a story entitled Ben Johns, Pickleball's first superstar, wins with strategy, which marked a meaningful victory for the world number 1 and the sport as a whole too. Founded in 1877, the newspaper is one of the leading publications in the country. A story like this is a clear indicator that pickleball has most definitely entered the national conversation. The interview covers fascinating aspects of America's fastest growing sport and how Johns finds success on the court with strategic decision-making and intelligent tactics. And the story by journalist Mark Selig was deemed front page news. Between this piece and Anna Lee Waters making the Forbes 30 under 30 list in 2023, pro pickleball is only growing in popularity and prestige. Third thing to know, as shared on the APP.global for the APP Tour, 2025 APP US Collegiate Championships. The APP is expanding its collegiate offering in 2024 with the introduction of regional qualifiers, creating a pathway for college teams to secure a spot in 2025 US Collegiate Championships in Westfield, Indiana. All APP team regional qualifiers will be held in fall-winter 2024 and lead into the January championships, aligning the series with the college school year calendar. The qualifiers are as follows: September 12 through 14, Southwest Regional in Dallas, Texas, September 26 through 28, West Regional in Glendale, Arizona, October 17 through 19, Midwest Regional in St. Louis, Missouri, and December 5 through 7, East Regional in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. 32 teams will emerge from the regional qualifiers to secure a spot in the APP US Collegiate Team Championships in Westfield, Indiana, at the Grand Park Sports Campus, held January 3 through 5, 2025. All players from the teams that qualify and those that do not will be eligible to play in the 2025 APP Individual Collegiate Championships, which are part of the same event at Grand Park. Fourth thing to know, as shared on timeout.com, 12 new pickleball courts are opening under the Brooklyn Bridge. The area will be open to the public for the first time in 15 years. The giant no man's land underneath the Brooklyn Bridge in the Dumbo area of Brooklyn will soon be born again as a pickleball destination. Officials announced their intention to revitalise the area, filling it with the courts and a slew of other recreational pursuits sometime in the spring of 2025. City Pickle, the company behind many of the courts now peppering New York, came up with the winning proposal for the recreational setup following a request for proposals, RFP, released by the City of New York Department of Parks and Recreation back in January. As part of the plan, the organisation wants to turn Anchorage Plaza into 12 pickleball courts that border Washington Street, while also setting up areas for a dog run, food trucks, a tree nursery, art installations, beach chairs, restrooms, and more open year-round. The Brooklyn Eagle reports that City Pickle will invest a minimum of $2 million in the space for drainage, levelling, and other preparations. The NYC Parks Department approved of the project, and construction of the is scheduled to kick off in just a few months. Although scenic and functional, the area has until now been underused, making it prime real estate for the sorts of recreational destinations that locals crave and officials in office hope to be able to deliver during their tenures. Paddles up.